Live here in beautiful Salt Lake City here at DNA HQ. This is the DNA Sports Recap. How's it going, AJ?
I'm doing great, buddy. I'm doing great. Another beautiful week, and I'm so ready to get into this.
That's right. Let's go, man. I'm super excited about it. Super pumped. We've got a lot to talk about.
So much to talk about.
Breaking news on the Jazz that just dropped while we were recording our whiskey video, which is our whiskey review video on Basil Hayden Dark Rye. So be sure to check that out when it's up on the channel on YouTube, so be sure to check that out. But what's going on, my man?
Oh, dude, been a busy week for me for work. I'm just ready to be here and enjoying life.
Absolutely.
The best way it should be.
Best way it absolutely should be, for sure. So when it comes to that here, we got a few things we want to talk about. We're going to talk a little bit about college football because they did release the Big 12 schedule this week. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the tomfoolery that comes around with Utah Hockey Club this week. And
yes.
We're going to talk some Utah Jazz trades, and we're going to talk some MLB. We're going to wrap all that up with spring training coming around the corner. So it's going to be a good episode. Once again, folks, you're watching this live on YouTube and on Facebook for the first time, folks. We're live on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Be sure to jump into the chat. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know, if you have any thoughts on what we're talking about, please feel free to chime in. We'd love to hear from you. And we'll go ahead and get into all that good stuff.
Let's do it.
All right. So before we do that, let's go ahead and do our pre-show cheers. Cheers to you.
Cheers to you guys.
Okay. Good stuff, man. Basil Hayden. Love it.
It's so good.
Love it.
The problem is you can just drink it. Very high drinkability rating.
Yes. Be sure to check out our episode where we put it out there in like 2 weeks. What is
4.96275?
That's right. That's the drinkability ranking from yours truly over there. Yeah, boy, AJ. So we'll go ahead and jump into that. Before we do, let's go ahead and jump into the podcast, shall we?
Yep.
Okay. So let's go ahead and start with what we're going to talk about today. Hello, Internet. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us on today's episode of the DNA Sports Recap.
The Utah BYU, which is the best rivalry in college football, gets disrespected. Let's break it down.
Utah Hockey Club is making no sense when it comes to their naming of the team.
Let's talk trades for the Utah Jazz.
In Major League Baseball, the richest teams are crying poor.
And let's talk Trevor Bauer.
Oh, it's always fun to talk Trevor Bauer.
I love me some Trevor Bauer talk.
With all that more, let's go ahead and jump into it. How do we usually kick this thing off?
My name's Darren. That is AJ.
That's right. Okay. With all that said, no, that's the end, Jake.
Yeah, that's it. Just go for it.
Yeah, okay. All right. All that more in today's episode of the DNA Sports Recap.
Roll the intro.
How's it going, AJ?
Doing great, buddy. I'm doing great. I'm ready to get into it.
Absolutely. And again, folks, if you're watching this on our live stream, be sure to jump in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you in the chat. Please chime in on what we're talking about today. We do have a comment from Nessa Joe kicking it off. First one in the chat. Maybe too much whiskey before the show. That's great.
You don't know us.
Yeah. That's
too much whiskey is not a thing.
We cannot confirm or deny the allegations that were brought upon us on that one. But yeah, so we would love to hear from you. Let us know what you think about what we're talking about in the comments down below. And, let AJ know what your favorite color is. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes.
If you're listening to this on the podcast, be sure to give us a rate and review. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the main topic that we want to, sorry, not the main topic. Let's go ahead and jump into our first topic, AJ.
First one.
Let's talk about college football, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the Big 12 released their 2025 football schedule on Monday. We wanted to cover our first reactions to the schedule, which was, and BYU fans, you're going to be upset about this as well. One could argue that the BYU-Utah rivalry game is one of the best casual viewers rivalry games in the conference. So not only which is for us fans, but actually the casual fan. Like you got the Arizona
everybody
State.
Loves the BYU Utah rivalry.
Yeah, Arizona State, Kansas State. But when it comes to BYU Utah, like that's if you're a casual fan of football, you probably are going to want to tune into that. And yet, with BYU being only one win away from the college football playoff, and some would argue they still got snubbed anyway, it's still getting disrespected about not having the Holy Roar during rivalry week. And to add insult to injury on this, AJ, is even earlier this year, this game is being played on October 18th. AJ, your thoughts?
Kind of crazy. Especially because this is, just for the record, the BYU Utah rivalry is not the only one in the Big 12 conference that is not happening during rivalry week.
Yeah.
The Kansas State, Utah plays Kansas in the season finale, which would be Kansas State rivalry.
Right.
So the Big 12 is just totally going completely left field, right? Does it make sense? I don't know. They're obviously doing what they can to generate more views in off weeks by throwing a rivalry game in week 8, right? Because that's when the BYU Utah happens. I don't know, man. This is craziness to me. The fact is like I'm disappointed, right? Because I think that this game is one of the best rivalry games in all of college football. I'm okay if we get an 8:30 time slot, that our standard West Coast, BS time slot that comes from, just playing on the West Coast typically, because obviously there's Alabama, Auburn, right? There's all these great SEC rivalries, Big Ten rivalries that are going to happen early. That's okay. I want a rivalry slot in the last week on one of those late ones that we can watch it, and it could potentially be a game. I don't know if you guys missed it here. Utah's projected to potentially be a top contender in the Big 12.
Yeah, exactly. And with BYU coming off of one game away from being in the CFP,
had a fantastic season.
Had a 11-win season this year.
Yeah.
After winning their bowl game. This could be a game that matters, right? So, yeah, I think it's kind of a slap in the face, not only to the fan base, but pretty much every fan base in the Pac-12 that we are not having a rivalry.
In the Big 12.
What did I say? Pac-12?
You said Pac-12, but it's fine. We're still there.
We're still there.
Yeah.
I miss the Pac-12. And when it comes back, it won't be the Pac-12. So don't even start with me in the comments.
No.
You need to actually earn your way into a P5 conference. You just don't have it yet, guys. You just don't have it. You're the Mountain West until you're the Big 12. So that's basically what we're going to say about that. Let's go ahead and jump into some of the comments there. We have a comment there from Nessa Joe. Purple. That's right, AJ. Mark it down. Nessa Joe.
I'll make a note.
That's right. Tally it up. Put it on the board. We've got a comment from friend of the channel here. We got McKinley Cutler, sorry. Slipping back into old habits there, McKinley. Sorry about that. Yes. Yeah. National guys hate the state of Utah for some reason. BYU and Utah rivalry is lame. BYU football is overrated and doesn't deserve to be ranked in the top 25. That's coming from a BYU fan, so he's being sarcastic for those of you who didn't catch that in the reading of that, which is actually a good point there. If you were to say right now, pre-season AP poll, where are you putting BYU in the top 25?
No lower than 20. Yeah, I mean, they're probably in the teens ranked. I don't know how they're not. They beat a really good Colorado team in a bowl game that they probably didn't deserve to be in just because they should have been in the college football playoff.
Yeah, I'm putting them about 17, 16.
Yeah, I'm going to say 17, 18, right in that ranking. I mean, no, like 20 is the absolute bottom, right? And it's going to be a stretch to find 17 or 18 teams better than BYU.
What is the over-under that Utes, what are the not the over-under, but what are the odds that Utah makes the top 25 in the preseason poll?
No, absolutely zero. They haven't proven anything.
Well, that's kind of my point there. They're already being favored to win the conference again already after a losing season, their first season in. And there's a lot of ESPN announcers expecting Utah football to be the top odds to win a college football championship this year. So how can you not put them in the top 25?
I mean, I guess I say zero, but I guess that there's obviously a chance.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'd say about 10% chance. But BYU coming off a stellar season last year, you definitely got to put them at least, I'd say 16, 17, 18, somewhere around there.
That's where I would put them. Yep.
Very true. Very true. All right. We also got a comment there from channel legend Greg Hawkins. Great to have you with us, buddy. A bunch of my buddies from back east thought Utah BYU was the safe school.
Did you look them, like, I don't know if you obviously maybe over the phone or something, but you need to look them straight in the face and be like, how dare you? How dare you?
Yeah. Give them that, what's that? Greta Thunberg, put the British accent on there too. Yeah, for sure.
That is insulting.
Same team. Wow.
Sorry, McKinley, but they are very different football programs.
Yes.
Go Utes.
Yeah. And you know what? Honestly, you can't slack on it, man. BYU proved that they aren't their brother in the conference anymore by being one game out. So you got to tip your cap to the
I'm
boys
sorry,
down south.
but I'm a diehard Utah fan, and this is the year when we get it back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, yeah, you know, you got a year to prove it. So for sure, I'm definitely looking
Absolutely.
forward to it. There's a reason why there's a Utah hat on this set and not a BYU hat. So, you know, no offense, McKinley. Please,
It looks like I'm wearing it.
please still watch. We love having you around, man. Appreciate it. But yeah, so I don't know, man. I just thought it was really interesting. We're gonna keep continuing to break this down as we go when it comes to the schedule that was released. We'll be talking a little bit more about it. So be sure to check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
as we
next
go.
week, make sure you guys tune in next week. I think we probably go through the schedule and make our predictions on what the Ute schedule, wins, losses looks like next week. So make sure you guys tune in.
Oh, yeah. And once again, folks, we'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you think about this in the comments down below. When it comes to the rivalry, drop us a like on this. Check out our merch store down below. More stuff coming every week, and make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Most stuff coming every single week about your Utah Utes, as well as
we're killing it. We've been just slaying merch the last couple of weeks.
Absolutely. You know, and check out the okay, there's a shirt that's on the merch store right now that has a bunch of like images on it. Let me know in the comments down below if you know what that one is, because it's pretty obvious. AJ didn't get it because he wasn't a Jazz fan back in the day.
I didn't get it.
He didn't get it, but if you've been watching Jazz for more than 20 years, you're going to know what it is. So be sure to check it out for sure. Great shirt. I'm actually going to probably order that one myself here. We got a comment from Greg Hawkins, go Utes. And we also got another one coming from
glad to hear, buddy.
No time, not taken. Perfect. I like it. You know, dude.
Hey, we're still respectful to the Cougs here.
Oh,
you know
dude.
what I mean? Like, yeah. I got no hate. I'm just a Utes fan. That's all there is to it.
So looking forward to them. Like, just to, you know, as far as especially when AJ DeBances on the basketball team, I'm looking forward to covering that team pretty in depth for sure.
Gonna be good stuff.
Yeah, we also got another comment here from McKinley. Watching the Jazz game, I know the Warriors had a chance.
A lineup change right before the game, but they need to get it together. The Jazz don't need 2 wins in a row.
Yeah, pooper for the hashtag in the pooper for Cooper. That's right. We're actually going to cover that here in a little bit for sure.
Absolutely.
So more to come on that one. More to come on that for sure.
We'll lose. Don't worry.
Right back at you. That's awesome. That's
exactly
awesome.
what we need.
Exactly what we need for sure. But yeah, once again, folks, we want to hear from you. Let us know what you think in the comments down below for sure. Let's go ahead and pivot on over and talk a little bit about your Utah Hockey Club, shall we?
Yes. You
gonna be on top of the color change this time?
You know it.
All right. Let's talk your Utah Hockey Club. One more there.
Perfect. Right on time.
Nailed it.
First click every time.
Nailed it. All right, perfect. Well, folks, before we get in the content, folks, we do want to take a moment to mention that we did just create a channel for your Utah Hockey Club called Utah Hockey DNA. This is where all of our Utah hockey content will be posted first, so be sure to check it out. A link to that channel will be in the description below if you're watching this on our main channel, DNA Sports Recap. If you're watching this on the live stream and checking us out on the podcast, be sure to go to YouTube and check out Utah Hockey DNA. Subscribe to that channel. We'll be giving away one of those sick Utah Hockey Club jerseys once this channel hits 1,000 subscribers.
Yes. And make sure you hit that like button for me.
Absolutely. We got a really cool hoodie in the merch store.
That logo, if you're a Utah hockey fan, Utah Hockey DNA hoodies are sick. Get one.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump into it here, man. Quick pivot from last week.
Way quick pivot. So
yeah.
Obviously Utah Hockey Club formally announces their final 3 names, right? And their initial that we got Utah Hockey Club, Utah Wasatch, Utah Mammoth. Pump the brakes. Obviously, Utah Hockey Club posts on their X. Hey, Utah hockey fans,
Twitter.
we listen to your feedback. It's X.
Gonna call it Twitter.
It's X. Hey, Utah hockey fans, we listen to your feedback for the team name. It's clear Outlaws should be in the mix instead of Wasatch, so we're swapping it out. Obviously, Wasatch was a very late addition to the naming, which was oddly enough not even included in the initial round of options. The logo was kind of cool. They do have, obviously the mountain range, and then it is kind of the Yeti theme mascot. But obviously Utah hockey fans are not a huge, pusher of the name Wasatch because it's horrible.
Yeah. So this is something that just got released there. Wasatch is out and Outlaws is in after one game of voting. By the way, they said over 15,000 people are allowed to vote, which, by the way, 15,000 didn't. That stadium, that arena does not hold 15,000. And everybody's not standing in those lines. So they probably got around 10,000 of them. But those 10,000 of them got to see the three names there. We talked about it before. About the Wasatch and it being dropped, and then now some Outlaws come. Was leaked on what that actually looks like. So let's go ahead and jump into that here. So here are the three names there. We actually had it in, someone mentioned it in our comments last week. If we know about the logos, we'll get into that in a second. But this is what you saw. So this was leaked on Twitter, on the X, if you insist on calling it that. I don't. But what we have here is this is what they saw when they walked into the kiosk there. You have the Utah Mammoth, the Utah Outlaws, and then you also have Utah Hockey Club. So now, AJ, what I want to do is I want to bring your attention to the logos down below.
Yes.
I am all right with the Utah Mammoth. I think that's sick. I think that looks good on the jerseys. I'm okay with that one. What do you think?
I like the Mammoth logo a lot. And that's kind of the funny part is I like the Mammoth logo probably the most of all three of these logos.
Yes. So let me go ahead and pivot to one. I really liked Utah Hockey Club as the name, as you mentioned before. I think just leave it that way.
Yep.
If
Greg disagrees.
Greg, yes, we're not in Europe. Yeah, I get you.
I get you.
But I would have to say I will step down from my stance on wanting Utah Hockey Club if that's the logo that's going to be on the damn jersey. Like,
you
what
don't
the heck?
You don't like the Mountain Head Yeti?
I don't like the Yeti with the faux hawk. That is a 2004, 2007, 8-ish faux hawk. Tell me I'm wrong.
Oh, it is 100% faux hawk on a Yeti.
That's a faux hawk on a Yeti, man. What are they thinking? That is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I don't know, man. I just think when it comes to the names there, I really like Utah Hockey Club. I think it's a good fit for the team. We've been using it for a year. It makes sense. I honestly think Utah Yeti was the one that was supposed to be it, and it's not it. And then they don't have Blizzard in there. They don't have Raptor in there. They don't have, all the other names that were good names for them to be. And it's just Outlaws, plural, not singular. And there's probably about 1 billion minor league baseball teams named the Outlaws and minor league hockey teams. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. By the way, quick pivot on that. Let's go back to Yeti, by the way.
Yeah.
Utah Yeti, right? And they're saying, there's, it didn't make branding because it's too similar to a different thing.
Too much trademark issues. Yeah.
Okay, let me say two words to you and tell me why that's complete BS. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
Stanley Cup.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. What do you win when you win the whole damn thing when you're in
you win the Stanley Cup.
Exactly. And what is the most popular thing here in Utah with a bunch of
it's a Stanley Cup.
That's right. Who sponsors the Utah Jazz?
Stanley.
Exactly.
With their cups.
With their cups. So explain to me why that's okay. But we can't.
That's kind of crazy, actually. I didn't think about that.
What's going on there?
Yeah.
So why are they allowed to name it the Stanley Cup? And Stanley, the mug brand's been around since before, puppies were the oldest animal, is it's a lot. It didn't get all upset when they named their championship trophy the Stanley Cup. That makes absolutely no sense to me. But anyway, it just kind of talks a little bit to the shortcomings there when it comes to the Utah Hockey Club and what they're doing there. I don't know, man. When it comes to the names, which way are you leaning? With the Outlaws, Mammoth, Utah Hockey Club, which way you go with knowing the logos and everything?
Okay, so that's the problem though, right? This is where the conundrum happens, is because if we're just talking a name, I like the name Utah Outlaws the best. I don't like Mammoth as a name. I know you like it because it's singular.
It's literally the only reason why I like it.
Right, because it's singular. Okay, Utah Outlaws, I think, is the best name, in my opinion. The best logo is probably the Utah Mammoth.
Yes.
The worst one is Utah Hockey Club. Worst name and absolutely the worst logo.
Yeah. Everybody who's for the Utah Hockey Club's not going to be for that logo, man. That's a Yeti with a faux hawk. You can't convince me differently.
Yeti.
Then the Mammoth's probably got the best one. And we're going to get into the next segment when we talk about the Utah Hockey Club on why the Outlaw is not the best logo, which, by the way, would look sick if it wasn't for the reason we're about to get into.
Yep.
But yeah, we'd love to hear from you folks. Let us know what you think in the comments down below when it comes to the team name, what you think of this pivot. For me, this basically just says how sloppy they're doing everything, man.
Yeah.
Well, was there some kind of exit poll during the first game? Was there like somebody asking, well, what name did you want to see on there that you didn't? Or was there an option to write in something? If anybody went to the first game, let us know in the comments down below if there is a write-in option, because this makes absolutely no sense. They pivoted this quickly from Wasatch to Outlaws.
We're talking in a matter of hours. They moved completely away from Wasatch and moved into Outlaws.
Yeah, exactly. We talked about last week how last minute they pivoted away from Yeti, which is something that should have been started 6 months ago.
Yeah.
During the first round of voting, when Utah, Yeti was going to be the main name. This was something you should have started working on with the Yeti brand to square away.
But also they should have had logos already ready when they started the initial branding.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, like when they initially introduced all of these initial brandings, they should have had at least a base logo and semi-base color scheme, right? Because now they're just saying, oh, we're going to keep these same colors. Okay, we're not going to add a color. We're not going to switch a color out. Like, this is what we're stuck with. Because the problem is now you're trying to jam all of these weird colors into a logo that may or may not match.
Yeah, I mean, it made sense when they first got the team, when they moved from, hey, the Coyote, we
know we can't keep the Coyotes color scheme.
We can't keep the Coyotes. They're not going to be the Phoenix Coyotes. We're not keeping that. So we need a new team name, and we need to do that. That makes all sense. Like, go with something temporary. But this whole excuse of it being, a new thing and everything happening so fast, that's long gone. Yeah. You've had 6 months where you've owned this team, where you've got the preliminary poll, and then once you realize Yeti was going to be the one, you should have went after that and figured that stuff out ahead of time.
You've got too much data to not.
Yes, but they didn't. They decided not be proactive and not have to figure it out. And now with Yeti saying, nope, sorry, now they're trying to figure it out and throw some stuff against the board and see what sticks. There's no more excuses for all this happening. This is, them just trying fast to try and do the right thing, and it's just not working out. They should have known that up front they were making this, and this is what the main thing is a concern for me on this one, is that it proves the ownership is not learning from their mistakes when they previously failed to rebrand the Jazz with that highlighter yellow stuff they tried to do back a couple years ago. They're repeating the exact same mistakes with the Yeti thing.
Yeah.
I mean, with the Utah Hockey Club.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is concerning, which made it worse. So we'll go ahead and talk about that in a second, but let's go ahead and hit some of these comments here before we miss out on a few of these here. So let's go ahead and talk about, let's jump in on these here. First comment we got from McKinley Cutler is, personally, I'm a fan of the Mammoths voted for it before
they wanted Yeti.
Yeah. And again, it's not Mammoths, it's Mammoth. It's singular.
Singular. That's why it's Darren's favorite.
So McKinley, tell me what you feel about singular versus plural on that one. Jonathan, was that
Blazier?
Blazier?
Yeah.
You see how I know it's why. Let's see here. I know it. I know it. Why are you saying it's going to be? I can't see it from back here.
It says, I know it. Why are you just say it's going to be Ludlow? Yeah, Utah Mammoth.
Yeah, it's interesting. Utah Mammoth would be probably the better option there. Another comment here from Greg Hawkins. You don't absolutely love Utah Mountain Defender, Darren.
Combine that with Utah Hockey Club, and we've got ourselves a beautiful disaster on our hands.
Great,
exactly.
Great Evanescence song, by the way. But yeah, I mean, the Mountain Defender with the faux hawk there, just give him a puka shell necklace and and a sweater vest over a white t-shirt.
2005 all over again.
And you're right there, you're right there with your Ed Hardy jeans and stuff like that.
Turn on some Simple Plan, like we're just rolling it, dude.
Great. That's great. We also have another comment here from Jonathan. I did not hear that it is give me more people. Hey, all the people for Jonathan.
All the people for Jonathan,
for sure.
Yeah, next one.
So McKinley Cutler, I don't think they want to risk another copyright situation with NBA team. Yeah, the Utah Raptors. I don't know. I think they'd actually win that one because there is such thing called a Utah Raptor.
Right.
So I think they would probably win that one just solely off of that alone, that there's historical precedence and a prehistoric, animal from Utah that is mammoths are from, as you mentioned before, McKinley. Sorry, that's actually not McKinley. That was Greg Hawkins that mentioned, or was it McKinley? Who mentioned that it was the mammoths are from Utah?
It was
originally?
Greg.
It was Greg.
Yeah.
Okay. We also got a comment here. I think we missed the boat by calling it on the team the what does that say?
I can't see
the Night Jazz. Is that what it says?
No.
Nephi Jazz. What does that say there? We'll have to get close on that one.
I can't see it.
Okay, we're gonna have to see that. Put that in capital letters for us, man. We're old. We can't see that far away.
Again, the screen is very far away, so if it's like weird words, we can't enunciate them.
Yeah, at this point, they should have just done all of this internally and announced it when they figured all this stuff out. Absolutely. They're trying to come up with this narrative saying, oh, it's unprecedented that they're going to have the Utah Hockey Club be named by the fans. This is unprecedented. This total tech boy talk saying that no one's ever done this before. It's not even new for the state. Other professional teams in Utah have asked the fans to vote in. So it makes absolutely no sense. But yeah, we definitely want to hear from you guys on that. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. What do you think about the name pivot? It gets even better from that, because now we got to talk about
the best part about the whole name pivot.
Yes. The best thing about this is that the whole NHL is clowning on the Utah Hockey Clubs for these names. So let's go ahead and jump on over this. If you look here, we've got some articles there that came up, and I've got a couple of tweets there. The NHL fans roast Utah Hockey Club over the proposed logos for the new franchise name. And basically, for you can go ahead and read them. They're up on the screen. But pretty much what they are all saying is that not only do most of them look this way, but definitely the Utah Outlaw looks like an EA Sports NHL hockey game creative logo type logo. And you can't go anywhere on the internet without seeing that kind of stuff. We were talking about these names. And yeah, if you look it up, they're pretty close, especially that Utah Outlaw logo. It looks like you just went in to create a team and they just designed it and boom, there it is. It looks like they made it out of that, which is really, really quite embarrassing. I don't know, man. What do you think about the response from the hockey fans out there talking about your Utah Hockey Club and what they're doing?
It's hilarious. I mean, and the fact is like we've now got logos that are for a team that like these are actual options to be the logos that's going to go on our team's jersey.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. So I don't know. I mean, I think these are all I'm really hoping that all of these are just generic. Could be they're going to make some tweaks to make them more unique. That's not like the final logo, right? Like it's an outlaw face. Okay, cool. Let's tweak the outlaw face, make it. I also feel like by just adding some color, some of these are much, much better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we just add the color brown to any one of these logos, the Mammoths logo, way better. You add some brown to it, perfect. The Outlaws, same thing. Add some brown into that, perfect. Even the Mountain Defender Faux Hawk logo, you add some brown to that guy, looks much better. So I wonder if there's any chance that they do add a color and subtract a color to make some of these logos work, or to change some of the branding. I don't know. I'm curious to see how it actually ends up working out.
No, I 100% agree with you, man. I just think it's a little ridiculous there. And if we go back to the previous thing there, when you look at the Outlaw, you can go on Creative Player and it's almost the exact same thing.
Like literally the exact same thing.
Just different colors.
Yeah.
And the Mammoth there's been people who've been designing a logo on that on Instagram a little bit earlier. That's pretty close to that one.
It was like that exact same one, dude.
Yeah, it's
uncanny. But like before these were officially announced, somebody had put out these exact same logos, and like we're talking
really close.
Really, really close.
Yeah. It's almost as if they saw that stuff on the internet and like, oh, let's just do exactly what minimum we have to do not to get sued for it. I don't know. Out of all of them, I think the Mammoth looks better on the jersey than anything else. The Outlaw just kind of looks a little weird. And obviously the faux Hawk Yeti there, it just doesn't do it for me. But yeah, we want to hear from you folks. Let us know what you think in the comments down below about your Utah Hockey Club when it comes to the backlash from the naming and the pivot on that and pretty much everything we talked about today. As a reminder, folks, we did just launch a new channel for your Utah Hockey Club called Utah Hockey DNA. This is where all of our Utah Hockey Club contents can be posted first. A link to this channel will be in the description below if you're watching this on our main channel, Utah Hockey DNA. Once again, folks, make sure you check out that channel, check out the merch down below, and smash that like button for your boy AJ right over there.
Yes, I appreciate it. And look at this beautiful logo. Wouldn't you just love to have that on a hoodie?
I think it'd be great on a hoodie. I think it'd be great on a hat too. We should probably get on that.
We should probably actually order some hats and see.
Yeah.
Oh, we could change our hats between sets.
Yeah, that's
colors and hats.
We've got 7 seconds to switch the color and switch the hats. We totally got that.
We got this.
Yeah, it definitely works. Definitely works. But yeah, we'd love to hear from you folks. Let us know what you think in the comments down below for sure. We also have more comments here that I want to go ahead and jump in on. We have Johnny Blazer, top 3 Utah Outlaws. Yeah, it's actually not plural, it's singular. So that's really kind of an interesting point there, which I don't know, man. Utah Outlaws just sounds so much better than Utah Outlaws. I don't know. We'll see. McKinley Cutler puts in there, I'm good with either plural or singular. Yeah, I guess you're just not as
no preference. Yeah,
no preference. You're just not as hung up on that as I am, which I could respect, McKinley. You probably sleep better at night than I do, so that's awesome. We also have another comment here from the channel legend Greg Hawkins. Utah Outlaws doesn't work with the color scheme. 100% agree, and I hate that more. I hate it the more I look at it. Super cringe. Everybody rolling up to games with cowboy hats, as if
people whooping.
I like it. I like it, man. And think about the Utah Hockey, the Energy Solutions. Sorry, not the Delta Center.
Did you just say Energy Solutions?
Old habits, man. Old habits.
Wow, that is a way old habit.
It's been like 3 years, dude, since we called the
ESA.
Yeah, it's been like 3 years, so not that long. But yeah, dude, absolutely. I mean, they already have line of sight issues. Can you imagine a bunch of people with cowboy hats on? That's only going to make it worse.
Yeah, just making it way worse.
For sure. We also got another one from McKinley Cutler here. I'm guessing that these are logos Ryan Smith likes minimalism style, likes the minimalist style. That's why we got that horrible Jazz rebrand. With the stupid single Jazz note. Yeah, I'd have to agree there for sure. Let's see here. We also got another comment here from Jonathan Blazer. I want to review it. It'll be okay. I want that shirt, and I'll go help you. All right, perfect.
We appreciate it. Absolutely.
All right. So once again, folks, that's since the team's not really winning much lately, I don't know, they were on a 5-game losing streak. That's really all we had to really talk about this team this week. We'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. If we missed something, if you want to suggest something else to talk about for the Utah Hockey Club, we'd love to hear from you. From there, let's go ahead and pivot and talk a little bit about your Utah Jazz, shall we?
Yes.
All right, man. There's no reason to bury the lead on this one. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. Let's talk about the trades, shall we?
Yep. Trades. There's been all kinds of movements. Are the Jazz done? I don't think so.
Yeah, with a little bit less than 12 hours left-ish. A little bit more than 12 hours.
A little more than 12, yeah.
About 15, 16 hours left for this.
Also, you should probably not go that specific. I mean, maybe for the live stream.
That's true.
For any one of our videos, that has zero relevance.
Other than the live stream. Yeah, exactly. And again, if you're watching this on the live stream, please jump in the comments. Let us know what you think. If you're listening to this on a podcast, we'd love to hear from you. Give us a rate and review for the channel there for sure. So let's go ahead and talk the trades. Let's start with the first one, Scoop, chronologically, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay.
The first one that kind of happened, right?
Yeah. So we're going to talk about starting with the Patty Mills and Drew Eubanks to the Clippers.
Yeah.
In return, the Jazz received PJ Tucker, Mo Bamba, and a second-round pick with cash as well. Mo Bamba was waived by the Jazz on Sunday, and is also reported by Michael Skoda from Hoops Hype that the Utah Jazz are expected to conduct a buyout of Tucker's $11.5 million contract if it can't be traded on the deadline. More on that to come later. AJ, what are your thoughts on this trade?
I mean, when I saw this happen, I just love it. And I'm sure you probably don't, but the fact is we had a player in Drew Eubanks and a great guard and a player that I really like in Patty Mills. that we moved for even more draft considerations. And I know at some point you're like, yeah, we don't need any more draft considerations. We've got first round picks, we've got second round picks, we've got tons of them. But the fact is the Jazz are in this super sweet situation where we can just swoop these players up. And as long as we get something for it, who cares? Right? They're coming onto our books, they're going off of our books, we'll make it. And it looks even better once we get to the next point.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's go ahead and jump into the comment there. You do have a comment there from Kinley Cutler said, it's funny how you look at all these reports about how the new CBA might have killed the trade deadline, and it was going to be almost impossible to make trades for star players. Well, boy, did that not happen for sure.
All it's done is made it so that the hauls for these star players had to be much larger.
Right.
Like they're obviously you've got to match salaries and match contracts, and you've got to keep your roster within a certain length. So like it's made things a lot more interesting, but teams are still getting it done. They're still going to find a way to get the player that they wanted in the trade deadline.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the second round pick and the cash is really all the Jazz were concerned about on this trade for Patty Mills and Drew Eubanks. It helps the Clippers. Sorry. It helps the Clippers get out of the second apron. So they're just doing some payroll dumping there. So that was great. But yeah, I think it's great for them to pick up a second round pick. Obviously, we know that PJ Tucker is not going to be in a Utah Jazz uniform. So this was basically just kind of us being in the middle of a trade to try to make things happen. Well, that was a direct trade, but they needed some depth there at the guard line for Patty Mills there for the Clippers. And yeah, it all makes sense. Let's go ahead and pivot on over to the next trade there.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and talk about the biggest blockbuster trade in NBA deadline history.
Possibly. No, it is. It is. 100%. Yeah. No, I mean, first of all, Dallas, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? This guy's 25 years old. You just dumped a 28-point-a-night player for Anthony Davis, who is hurt 97.65% of the time.
Yeah, I'm going to give my thoughts on that part here, but let me go ahead and take a step back when it comes to that. One of the first episodes we did on this channel was talking about the Kyrie Irving trade to Dallas.
Yeah.
We talked about how that was crazy, how that went down in the middle of the season, and how big of a deal that all was. Right?
That's crazy because that's 2 years ago.
That was 2 years ago, which is nuts. Thank you all for sticking with us for this long. Absolutely love it. Appreciate it.
Also, if you guys want a good laugh, go look at any of me and Darren's first episodes. They are hilarious.
It's great. Yeah, they're downstairs.
I'm a rambling mess. They're downstairs in Darren's basement, and they are very entertaining. But if you like good content, don't watch them for very long.
Yeah, filming on a GoPro camera. No lighting. It's great.
No lighting.
Lapel mics.
Yeah, mics are terrible. It's okay.
Amazon lapel mics.
It's a great time, though. It's great time. Good laugh.
You all got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so the Jazz are part of the biggest blockbuster trade of all time. The Jazz get a 2025 second round pick from the Lakers and the Clippers and pick up Jalen Hood Schifino, who was the 17th overall pick in the 2023 draft, who will basically fill the spot on the bench that Patty Mills filled there. Now I have my thoughts on this, and we'll wrap up the conversation regarding the trade overall, but we can't not talk about that. But as a Jazz eternal optimist, AJ, please tell me, what do you think about how this trade helps the Jazz?
I mean, the best part about this trade is this trade's rough, right? Because the thing is we do own one of the Lakers picks for the future. So that didn't help us because obviously Luka Doncic is now playing for the Lakers. We own their pick. They're not going to be that bad. We're probably looking a later first round pick. But the good news is we did get Jalen Schifino. And there was a lot of rumors that earlier in the season, the Jazz were interested in acquiring him from the Lakers. And the Lakers actually weren't willing to part ways with them. So they wanted a little bit more compensation. They had discussed probably some Walker Kessler type trades. The Jazz said, we want to make sure Hood Schifino's in there. This kid's got a lot of upside. He's a very talented player. He's a first round pick. The Jazz liked him and they eventually got him, which is great to hear. And realistically, all the Jazz did was make sure that roster wise and cash wise, this trade worked out for obviously, the Mavericks and the Lakers, but this is huge, dude. The Jazz get a player that they like. this continues to help them build the roster of young talent that match our timeline exactly the way we want it to. So this is a huge pickup if you like the little moves that equal the big move.
Yeah, I'd have to say there's two things optimistically I want to look at in this one. One is that it tells you that that's a blockbuster trade involving a major player to a small market franchise. I mean, Dallas isn't necessarily a smaller market, but
they are.
They're a smaller market. They're not LA. They're not New York. They're not Boston.
Yeah,
they're a smaller market, and blockbuster trade could come out of nowhere. Yep. So the optimisms for Jazz fans that have faith in Danny Ainge to think that he can pull off another trade like he did in Boston, it's out there. This trade just happened, so there's some optimism there that the Jazz are part of it. And also the second part is the Jazz were part of this trade. They didn't come away with anything that I think really is going to be any good for this team. I mean, congratulations. You got another 6'5", 210-pound guard. Congratulations. We have like 5 of those. So way to go. We got another draft pick. Awesome. And I'll eat crow there if Jalen Hood-Schifino actually turns out to be anything. But
you're damn right he will.
I just think it's another situation where the Jazz were used in a trade to kind of bolster up somebody else and kind of taken advantage of, and it's just more of the Jazz sleeping on it. It was released that the Jazz didn't know that Luka Doncic and AD were in this trade until about a half hour before the trade was announced. And they're saying, look, you either do this or you don't. We have 5 other teams lined up ready to do something for us. So the Jazz just kind of took it and ran with it. So I don't know, man. Before we move on from this trade, what are your thoughts on the trade overall about AD for Luka? And yeah, there's some real players involved, but what do you think about this trade? What are your thoughts, man?
My thoughts are the Mavericks are absolute idiots. The fact is if you've got issues with Luka's conditioning, because that's kind of like what came out after the trade happened, right? It's like, we were worried about his conditioning. He wasn't staying healthy. He'd ballooned up to 260. We gave him like 10 or 11 days off to try to get back down to, pretty much fighting weight to stay competent and stay going in the league. If you have issues with Luka's conditioning, maybe stop getting rid of all the guys, because they'd fired 3 or 4 of the trainers that were actually helping Luka. They kept moving them.
Lucas, they got rid of the guys publicly. He liked.
All the guys that he liked that were actually helping him. Stop moving the guy.
Or doing what he wanted him to do.
And maybe it's doing what he wanted, but the fact is you've got one of the best players in the NBA on your team. Why do you move him for an Anthony Davis that's done absolutely nothing in the NBA?
Okay, let's pump the brakes on that one. Okay, so I understand Anthony, trading Luka, that's like ridiculous. Nobody should have done that. That's a dumb move. We could all agree on that part. But everybody's kind of dunking on Anthony Davis here and making it sound like this guy's absolutely nothing, where for the 5 games above this, he was averaging over 25 points, 11 boards, and like 5 assists over the last 5 games. Like, this guy is like literally the only reason they won the bubble championship, and is literally the second best player on a playoff team right now, and was easily one of the top 10 players in the league not too long ago.
Right. But who's the number 1 player on the Lakers?
Right now, it's still LeBron James.
He's 38 years old. That's the problem. He's only the number
LeBron
2 player.
James is 40.
Oh, even worse. Okay, you're going the wrong direction, Darren. The fact is he's only the second best player on a team where their best player is 40 years old.
Yeah, I know why the Lakers did this change, because they basically just said, look,
Lakers absolutely do. They upgraded the shit out of their roster.
Did you hear the reason why they think the Dallas Mavericks made this trade?
No.
Did you hear this?
Maybe.
Okay, so the Dallas Mavericks owners are no longer Mark Cuban, right? He sold
Correct.
majority owner to this family, which forgive me, I'm not going to talk. I don't remember the name. Don't care. We're going to move on from the name. But basically, they own a huge gambling stake in Vegas. And they put together some legislation for Texas to legalize gambling so they can build a new arena, build a hotel, and build a casino sports book in there. That got shut down. The Texas legislature said, no, thank you, no gambling in Texas. And so what they're saying is what they're doing is, it was the GM that called the Lakers for this thing. First of all, another dumb move that you didn't open up to everybody. You just called the Lakers just because you wanted AD, which is dumb. A friend of the channel, Michael McKinnon, did send me something on Instagram that said that the guy who's doing this trade was the Nike representative that
Correct.
blew the Steph Curry thing.
Yeah.
The Steph Curry Nike deal. He was the one who blew that and used the Kevin Durant slides and changed out his name and called him Stephon. So this guy obviously does not know what the hell he's doing. But they're saying that the ownership group agreed to it because what they're doing now is they're going to leverage this to try and threaten the Texas legislature to have the team tank, get rid of all their talent, be one of the team that is hated by the fans, and then force the team to be relocated to Vegas.
Wow. That is a far stretch.
Yeah, this is a Dallas lawyer that did this. He's got inside info, and he's got a lot of lawyers from different teams in different sports to say this is a common thing that teams do, ownership groups do. It's either A, force the Texas legislature to agree, saying, hey, we have a professional sports team. You either legalize gambling for what we want to do, or we'll move your team. We'll move this team to Vegas. So that's the
where it can legally be betted on.
Yeah, which is a conspiracy, which honestly, it doesn't make any sense to me because what the NBA is actually going to want to do is the amount of money that expansion team has to pay out to the other teams. It far outweighs the relocation fee. So there's no way the NBA is going to let that happen. David Stern. Still not the right guy. Who's the commissioner of the NBA?
Adam Silver.
Thank you. I'm one generation back. Sorry. Adam Silver has made it quite clear that he wants the first expansion team in the NBA to be in Vegas. So, I don't think that one's going to be worth it. The conditioning thing, it makes sense. They don't want to have. They didn't want to give a supermax deal to the next Zion Williamson, a guy who's gaining weight in the middle of the season when you're playing 40 minutes of basketball in the middle of the year, smoking cigarettes, drinking beer. I'd have to say, even though he's gaining weight, he's still dropping 30 in the NBA Finals. So that's kind of a stupid thing to be worried about. But
I'm so frustrated with this dude, though, because the fact is you talk about all these players and how they have no loyalty to their teams, right? I get it. It's real. Players are going where the money is. But you just cost this dude $118 million in contract signings because you didn't want to sign him to a supermax.
Well, he is injured, and he's never proven to you that he cares about conditioning whatsoever. So the energy sits as a front office, you're going to see this as an injury situation is going to continue.
This team's in the NBA Finals last year.
It doesn't matter, dude. Are you going to pay supermax to Zion Williamson? Absolutely not.
Somebody will, though.
Yeah, and they would be an idiot, especially with the new the CBA the way it is. So I'm not agreeing with it. I'm just saying for the Mavericks situation, you're not going to give a supermax to a player that's missed like 25 games who won't stay in shape. You're not going to give that guy a supermax when he's simply being such a pain in the back end for you to deal with behind the scenes.
But also, Luka and Zion Williamson are much different players. Because Luka is a generational talent. Zion was just supposed to be a generational talent.
Yeah, Luka is actually on the field, on the court.
Luka is a top 5 NBA player right this minute.
Yeah, but the issue is that he's hurt now, and they're seeing this conditioning as being a precursor to a bigger issue.
Yeah, I get that. I don't know.
I don't agree with it. I'm just telling you where they're coming from.
Absolutely.
And it makes a lot of sense. But honestly, I think it's a little ridiculous. I don't know why they did it. And everybody's like, oh, the Mavericks just screwed the Luka out of $110 million. No, Luka did that. If he cared at all, he would be in shape all year long if he wanted to make that extra $100 million. I'm sorry. You want to be in charge of your own paycheck, you need to do something about it. And that is being in shape from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. It's that simple. You're getting paid hundreds of millions of dollars to play a kid's sport. Just suck it up and work out and just get it done, man.
We've got so many comments.
Jumping on that here, we got a few comments there we want to jump into. We've got that. We'll come down to this one here. I believe this is the first one. McKinley Cutler says, crazy that the Jazz don't want to trade.
Didn't know the trade for Luka until 30 minutes before the trade. All they knew is they are getting some seconds to help facilitate a trade.
Yeah, it's crazy that that's the case. But again, I think that was this case for all the teams. They all were sitting in that same position. They're all sitting in that same boat, right?
Correct.
So it kind of makes sense. It is crazy that they allowed it. I think that's why a bunch of teams the Jazz weren't the first pick. I think that's the reason why the other teams passed, because they're like, no, unless you're telling us to trade, we're not doing it.
Right.
The
Jazz were like, we'll take some seconds in a player. Yeah, we want this guy. They're like, perfect. We'll send him.
Tell you what, I'll give you every one of our draft picks for Luka. We don't care if he resigns.
Yeah.
McKinley Cutler says, do you think the Jazz keep Jalen Hood-Schifino? or let him walk after this season? That's a good question. Let me ask you that.
That's a great question. I think the Jazz like this guy. If he gets some playing time, which I think this is the season you will see him play in, if they do get him on the floor and he's even remotely productive, I think they probably keep him.
I think so too. I think he's going to get the Patty Mills minutes, and I think he's going to get some extra minutes from another player that will be moved by the deadline, which is something we actually are going to talk about here in a minute. So we'll see what happens there. Actually, no, he's not going to get the Patty Mills minutes because we have to talk about another trade, which we'll get into in a minute.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I don't know. I think if he shows out for at least a little bit for this team,
I think he's got a chance to make.
He's got a shot
for sure. Just stick around. Yeah,
we can always use a 6'5" guard on this team. Why not? All right, McKinley Cutler says the Mavs GMs might need protection.
Gets fired in a year.
Yeah, I think you mentioned in the press conference. I'm not thinking more than 5 years down the road because neither me or Jason Kidd are going to be here. I think that's just a spot on, analysis of his situation.
That's just real life in the NBA, though.
Yeah, I think he's being a little bit optimistic. He's not making it 2 years. They did stage a protest where there was about 50 or 60 fans outside the Mavs arena
upset fans.
Chatting sell the team the whole time. That's crazy.
Which is funny because the GM made the move, not the owner.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, you hired the GM. It's time to fire his, you know what. The Luka trade was going to happen no matter what. It's a good thing. The Jazz should have taken advantage of the moves. Like I
agree. The Jazz got something for nothing out of this trade. That's such a great point.
Absolutely. And this is my point there that I've been arguing for the last year and a half. We need a star. Yes. Utah Jazz need a star.
We have one. Lauri Markkanen.
No, he's not a superstar. He's not a top 5 player.
It didn't say superstar. It said star.
Okay. We have a former all-star on our team.
Thank you.
We do not have a top 10 player in the NBA on our team. We don't have a top 5, which is what every single NBA champion has had in the last 10 years.
Is Lauri top 20 though?
He's top 20, but he's not top 5. He's not even top 10. That's not going to win you a ring. So we need a star. We don't have one. There's nobody on the team that even looks close to being one. So, yeah, the Jazz needed a star, and I'll say it to the day I die. The day they traded the team's best players in Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell, they should have started the rebuild then. They should have got an opportunity to get Victor Wembanyama, and they just missed it. They missed the boat, man, and they have not proved to me that since then they're doing what it takes to actually build a contender. Look forward to this rebuild going way beyond, way into maybe even 2030.
No. Next comment.
Give me anybody on this team other than Markkanen that's going to be
the thing is, dude, is we
at least even a role player on a championship team.
We continue to acquire assets, right? And I know you don't want to say that, oh, you have all these assets, but the fact is we're going to be able to convince somebody at some point to make a trade for somebody's going to go into a rebuild.
We tried for Paul George. We didn't
have the assets we have now.
Yeah, we did.
No, we
have a bunch of seconds.
We have even more.
Yeah, we have seconds now. We had a bunch of firsts.
But we've got to get a team going into a rebuild. That's the thing is we're in a rebuild. We've got to find a team going back into a rebuild. And that's when you dish them out.
Every single major player that was traded for the Jazz were in on and didn't get because nobody wants to come here. And they realize that it needs to be done through the draft. They're not going to trade for anybody. Nobody's going to be except this is a power player empowerment league. Everybody is blocking trades. Even Damian Lillard, who was here in Utah for 4 years.
Didn't block a Utah trade, did he?
Yeah.
I don't recall that.
Oh, wait. It's not Damian Lillard. It's not Damian Lillard.
Brandon Ingram.
It's Drew Holiday.
Drew Holiday blocked it.
He blocked, yeah.
Yeah, Damian Lillard didn't. Yeah. He would have come back to Utah.
No, he wouldn't have.
Oh, he absolutely.
He wanted to go to a contender. That was his number one thing. The next comment. The only way the Jazz will win is to get Michael Jordan.
GOAT.
Yeah, let's do it.
Agreed.
100% agree. 100% agree. AJ, but the Bansta though is a good option. He is the top 5 player in the SCG's payroll right now.
Yeah, but I don't know if he's Michael Jordan. Let's not take it too far here.
No, but he is definitely the closest thing to the next LeBron that this league has right now as far as prospects go. But anyway, personally, I would believe the conspiracy theory that Luka's trade was 100 IQ move so the owners can move the team to Vegas. Yes, you don't trade a player like Luka unless he forces his way out. It's just an ownership group that's just not basketball first. They're not a team. They're not an ownership group that cares about basketball. They care about real estate. They care about being a commercial developer. If you don't give them what they want
that sounds very
Texas,
familiar.
Exactly. like you bullied a team into giving you $1 billion, or you're going to move the team to Daybreak. Sorry, not to Daybreak, but to the south point of the mountain. But give me $1 billion to stay downtown. So it sounds very familiar. But anyway, so they're just not a basketball team. They're just not a basketball ownership. So it's really kind of sad, but we'll see what happens there. Or maybe the GM really hated Luka on a personal level. He's been throwing shade nonstop as soon as the trade went down.
That's a great point, though. Like he could have very well had something in for him. Like, I just don't like this dude.
I absolutely love Luka. I love watching him play. His shoes are awesome. He's a great player. But man, does that guy complain on the court, man. Like next to Chris Paul, there's not a bigger whiner on calls in the NBA than Luka Doncic, and which is really sad because I actually really love that guy when he's playing basketball. But
great basketball player.
Unfortunately, on a 24-second shot clock, he's complaining 12 seconds and only playing like 10. So I can see someone being upset with him.
He's almost as bad as LeBron.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he doesn't flop, so he's better than LeBron. So you're going to have a flopper and a complainer on the same team. This is going to be great. Adam Silver looks like he...
Like an orc from Lord of the Rings.
Spot on, man.
That's a great point.
Spot on. We also have another comment here from McKinley here. It says, I think it's closer to 160 million. It also makes it worse that he was about to move into a new multi-million-dollar mansion that would have been finished construction.
I saw that. It was like $15 million. He had just signed on it too at his home in Dallas. Yeah.
Oh, geez. It's hard to complain about a guy that got you to the Western Conference Finals twice. And the finals all before the age of 25. Yeah, he's been top team All NBA all 5 years he's been in the league. You just don't trade that guy. You mark my words. This is what I want to say on this one before we move on to the next trade. You mark my words. There will be the curse of Luka on this one. This will happen.
Yeah.
Curse of the Babe, the Billy Goat curse in baseball. Exact same thing. This is going to be a curse in the NBA. The Dallas Mavericks are not going to win a championship for at least 10, 15 years because of this. This is going to be a curse. This is hexing the franchise. Mark my words. Anyway, we have a few more things we want to get close. We want to hit here on here. Let's go ahead and get to McKinley's comments. The press conference was hilarious. Kidd was not having it. He looked like he's pissed the whole time. Yeah, dude, Jason Kidd, why you show up to a press conference with a backwards hat and a hoodie, dude? Who are you trying to fool? You're like 50 years old, man. Come on.
Maybe he's trying to fool the press. You don't want to know he was there.
Yeah. So why don't you just have somebody else spill some more water on you like you did last time? Let's see. Things change in the league so fast. It just takes one crazy thing to happen for a team to go from the bottom to the top of this league. Yes, but the history and the luck is not in the Jazz favor. Their draft luck in the last 20 years has not been great. They have never moved up in the draft since the draft lottery has been in place. So you can think about luck, or you can think it's just the NBA not wanting a top pick for the Utah Jazz or a top pick coming here. So I don't know. We'll see. Definitely a little bit more than just luck on that one for sure. I'm a big conspiracy tinfoil hat guy on that one. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the last trade. This went down probably about an hour ago?
Yeah, pretty close to an hour ago. Today.
So break down the new trade.
So this is the most recent blockbuster, and once again, the Jazz are involved in this massive blockbuster deal, but just playing a little tiny eensy-weensy part.
Bigger role than the last one.
Huh?
It's bigger role than the last one.
That's true. So the Miami Heat are sending Jimmy Butler to the Golden State Warriors. Obviously, he's the centerpiece of the trade. That deal will include Andrew Wiggins going to the Heat, as well as a number of other players. And the deal for the Jazz, they are sending recently acquired PJ Tucker to the Heat, and the Jazz are receiving Dennis Schroeder from the Warriors, as well as a 2031 second-round pick from the Warriors. So this pick will be the less favorable from either the Heat or the Pacers, that 2031 pick are. So there's 4 teams involved in this one. Golden State's receiving Butler. Miami is getting Andrew Wiggins, Kyle Anderson, PJ Tucker. The Detroit Pistons are acquiring Lindy Waters from the Warriors and Josh Richardson from the Heat, and the Jazz are getting Dennis Schroeder. So 4 teams, players going everywhere. The Jazz get a small pick. They obviously get Dennis Schroeder back and a future second round pick. What are your thoughts, man? How do you feel about Dennis Schroeder?
I like this pick, Ben. I really like this pick. I think Dennis Schroeder is a great player. He balls out in
Yes.
Eurobasket when he plays for Team Germany.
He's an effort player, dude. The dude's got a motor.
He's got a motor. He's got a brain on him. He knows how to pick the right spots. He knows when to drive. He knows when to kick. This is a guy who knows how to run an offense, and he's proven it in every stop every stop in his NBA journey. The fact that no team has kept him for more than a couple of years is actually kind of insulting. This player is really, really good at running an offense. At minimum, he is a great backup guard on a championship qualified team. So absolutely love this guy. I've wanted him on the Jazz for years. Think he's a perfect fit.
I agree. And the next reason he's a perfect fit, because he's got a $13 million expiring contract. So
that always helps.
He could very well end up being another one of these trade pieces for the Jazz. Who knows? It'll be curious to see if the Jazz do keep him on the roster, because with that expiring contract, he could be in and outed, right? So obviously watch the Jazz's Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, see if they actually introduce him. They did introduce PJ Tucker, who they ended up moving, but like both these players were never actually with the team. Guaranteed the Jazz are still trying to make moves, and we still got, a few hours before the trade deadline lines up. So
I think if the right deal comes along, they'll probably move him. I don't think they'll re-sign him. It'd really be really cool to see him suit up for the Jazz for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
It does kind of hurt them in their goal of not winning games right now to have a competent guard. So, that's,
which really just moves us directly into what our next subject is on this too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. For the Utah Jazz.
Okay.
Competent guard and Keontae George.
Yes. Let's go ahead and talk about that. So, let's go ahead and pivot on over to that. Do you want to hit these comments? There's quite a few of them in there.
Is there a bunch more?
Yeah.
Well, let's get them.
Okay. Let's see here. Okay, right here. This is where we're at.
Yeah.
McKinley Cutley says, right before the Jazz game started, a little over an hour and a half ago, does Dennis play for Utah? I think he does.
Didn't Dennis? Well, he said, "Don't Dennis play?" Didn't he? I'm assuming he's saying, "Didn't he play at Utah?" I don't think he has played for Utah before.
No, I don't think so. I don't think Dennis Schroeder ever played for Utah. Did he play for Utah, like a college team?
No,
I don't think so.
Sure not.
I think he came straight from Germany. So, but I don't know. We'll see on that one. But yeah, I don't think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just checked. He didn't play at Utah.
Okay, great. Yeah, he didn't play his college.
He didn't play college ball, period.
Yeah, so that makes sense. But yeah, so I think he does play for Utah. I don't know if you can package him in a deal for anything else at the trade deadline. I think
not, you're welcoming his $13 million expiring contract for sure.
Yeah, but he is going to kind of throw a wrench in things on helping the team lose. But let's go ahead and talk about another Utah Jazz guard, which is Keontae George. Now, we talked a little bit about this last week when we talked a little bit about the recent surgence of Isaiah Collier at the point guard spot, the starting point guard spot, which, by the way, he continues to do well. He continues to put up like 7 or 8 assists a night on a team that's not trying to win, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I think this guy is really kind of making a case that he's going to be on this team when they actually are going to be a playoff team. So I think that'd be great. Either that or they're just trying to showcase him to trade him, one of the two. We'll see what happens there. But we found out the real reason why this player is basically starting. And it has more to do with Keontae George than it does Isaiah Collier. So as reported on ESPN 700, The Drive with Spence Checkets, they actually had Andy Larson on, and he had some inside info when it talks about that when it comes to why Keontae George is on the bench now that he's healthy. And he said it's 100% about the fact that the Utah Jazz are actually upset with his lack of effort on the defensive end. And this is more a punishment for Keontae than it is a promotion for Isaiah, and getting him to actually put more effort in on the defensive end. They wanted to work on his defense. They wanted to work on his defensive assignments. He's actually come out and said that there's not been a coach in his basketball career that's gotten on him as much as Coach Hardy has about his defense. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's kind of funny because he's also come out and said that like he feels like he's made a huge jump on defense, but he does say, well, honestly, I think I have a little bit more, that I could possibly provide. This is huge. And this is huge for a couple of reasons, right? Keontae is a potential star in the future for this Utah Jazz team. And the fact that Will Hardy is holding him accountable right now when Keontae should be playing, it really sets a precedent that the Jazz are going to be competing sooner rather than later, in my opinion. So
Okay.
when I say some of this stuff, it's because the fact is Will Hardy's coached this team very well. At this point, we're putting extra effort in to make sure that we're not winning basketball games, right? And yeah, he's going out there and telling Keontae, you need to improve your defense, because you know what? Keontae, with his elite size, he's an elite scorer. Even with his very limited ability to play in some of these games, if he can become a defensive weapon and he can guard a Steph Curry-like player, a De'Aaron Fox, if he can stay in front of these guys, Keontae George isn't ever going to come off of the floor, because he's that good of a scorer. He's a great distributor. He's transitioning to be an off-ball two guard. He's transitioning from being an off-ball two guard to becoming the Jazz's primary ball handler, right? He's actually taking the ball up the floor, and he's going through all of these like decision-making, like making these decision-making errors to becoming somebody that the Jazz can trust with the basketball in their hands.
So I like where you're coming at.
Yeah.
I love the internal optimism that you have when it comes to the Utah Jazz.
Always.
But if this boy doesn't if this player, Keontae George, if this guy, this young kid, I say boy because he's young. I'm like 40.
and he's like 20.
He's like 20. So I say boy because he's young. But anyway, this young man, if he doesn't start playing defense, he's not going to be in the NBA. He just doesn't. He's not an elite scorer. Not even close. Right now, he's shooting 38% from the field. From the field, AJ, 38%. He's not even 50% from the field, from a player who he's either pulling up and shooting the three, which he's shooting less than 30% from beyond the arc, and his driving and scoring at the basket, he's not even averaging over 50% from the field on that. He's below 50% from field. He is way inconsistent. He's way streaky, and he just simply and just not playing on defense basically is going to put him in a situation where he's A, no longer going to be in the league, or B, going to be off this team. He has to prove that he's going to be a defensive weapon for this team, and he has to work on being more consistent on the offensive end. I do not see this kid ever being an all-star. I was a big player. I was a big champion for this kid. I thought he had the chance to have a Donovan Mitchell type rise when we drafted him, but he's done absolutely zero to improve as a player since that time. And every opportunity the Jazz have given him, he is not taking advantage of. He needs to take advantage of this time coming off the bench to show that he can play some defense. If not, don't expect him to be in the league after this year.
I disagree, because Keontae, as much as he has struggled efficiency-wise, he'll get a shot somewhere to continue playing, even if he doesn't play defense. I think the fact is Will Hardy does want him long-term on this team. And if he can prove that he can be a defensive, I think getting Keontae engaged defensively will help him be effective offensively on that side of the ball, right? The fact is Keontae is a fantastic player who has these shines and streaks of greatness. And if he can continue to make that just a little bit more consistent, he's going to be just fine, right? He does need a coach to make sure that he's holding him accountable. And that's exactly what Will Hardy's doing. And as long as Keontae is realizing that this is what I need to do to stay in the league, he'll be okay. That's my thought. The kid's good, dude. This kid is a baller.
I want him to be good, man. I really do. I mean, he is averaging almost close to 6 assists a game over the last 10 games. His three-point percentage has gone up. He's now at a whopping 33% from the three line, so that's great. He's now back into 30%. Field goal percentage of the last 10 games is 38.9%, which is not good. Not good at all.
But do you have his average minutes per game?
Average minutes per game is 31.3 minutes per game.
Yeah, okay, that is a lot of minutes. I didn't think he was playing quite that much.
Against the Warriors tonight, he's 15 minutes. Pacers 31 minutes. He was 5 for 13 from the field, 4 from 11 from three. Getting 11 assists and 8 rebounds though. He's definitely got the ability to. He's really cut down on turnovers, so I'll give him that. But he definitely has not been where I've would have liked to have seen him at this point for sure. But I'm open to being wrong on that one, man. I hope he proves my old me right and current you right and turns it around, because unless he becomes a defensive lockdown player. I just don't see him really having a shot with his team.
Yeah, I think he's got it. I'd be surprised if he doesn't turn it around.
I hope he does. I hope he does. We'd love to hear from you folks. Let us know what you think in the comments down below about your boy Keontae George, KG3, as I coined him back in the day. That's right. It's trademarked. That's
trademarked.
Right.
Make sure nobody takes that.
That was ours.
Property of DNA Sports Recap.
Absolutely. Speaking of which, we did just launch a channel for you, Utah Jazz, called the Utah Jazz DNA. All of our Utah Jazz content will be posted here first. So if you have not yet, check out that channel. Subscribe to that channel. We'll be giving away one of those sick new statement jerseys, one of those road black jerseys. Super awesome. They're super sick. Once this channel hits 1,000 subscribers, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on that giveaway. And also make sure you smash that like button for your boy AJ. Check out that t-shirt that I have down there for Utah Jazz.
Boom.
I designed it yourself. I designed it myself for you guys. Check it out.
Designed it yourself. You designed it too.
Exactly.
Your
absolutely
support
did.
designed it.
Absolutely. But yeah, so good stuff, man, on the Utah Jazz. Good stuff. You want to hit any of these comments? Do we get?
Yeah, let's just run through the comments real quick, but we got to move because we've got a lot more content.
I just wanted to see if the Jazz end up moving any of the players that they apparently have been on the market this entire season. Yep, they have been.
I'm also very curious to see if they actually do move a John Collins or some of these guys that have been on the market.
Collins' contract is hard to move. The talent isn't really the problem with Keontae. It's all about effort. And honestly, I get it's hard to give 100% when you're tanking,
especially as a 20-year-old.
Very fair point.
I think that's kind of some of my point, right? Like the fact is you're not telling them, right? I don't know how these conversations work. We can't win ball games, but I need you guys to go out there and give everything you have and lose.
Yeah, I think it's kind of obvious there. If you can see the effort on the defense, if you see him not making defense,
I think that's the problem. There's X amount of minutes where it's like you need to show me everything you got in these minutes.
Yeah,
the first quarter, I want you to give everything you have. We can lose the game in the other three.
Mm-hmm.
I want you guys to go 100% in the first quarter. He goes out there, shit effort. Okay, Keontae, I need you to do X, Y, Z to make sure that this is who we're going to be in first quarters of games. When we're trying to win, this is who I need you to be. So curious to see how it works out. We got so much baseball content. We've got to move.
I like it. Don't worry about it, man. We're good. We're so good. All right, folks, we want to hear from you. Let us know in the comments down below what you think about your Utah Jazz and if you think they're going to make any more moves at the trade deadline between now and, well, like 15 hours from now. Oh, no, sorry. We're not supposed to do that.
Don't do that.
Let's go ahead and talk about Major League Baseball. All right, so let's talk a little bit about your Major League Baseball here. We've got a lot to talk about, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. First, let's talk about the Major League Baseball umpire. So Pat Holmberg did not umpire at all last season as part of the MLB investigation. We broke it down a little bit earlier in our videos last year. Apparently, he was sharing an account with his friends. While MLB does not have any evidence that Holmberg bet on baseball, however, there was 141 bets on baseball on this channel. Sorry, on this account, where with the profitability of 35,000 within that thing. So it was bad. So if he was a bad ump, this would be a really easy decision, just to simply just be like,
just move on.
Yeah, just move on from it. But you know exactly why this is a problem, right?
I do. This dude's been pretty consistently ranked as one of the best ball strike umpires in the game for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously in game 2 of the 2022 World Series, he called a perfect game, which means 129 of 129 of the taken pitches he called correctly,
which is unheard of.
This dude is really, really good at doing what he does. He was initially disciplined for all of these accusations in June of 2024. He appealed the ruling, and did you already say he can apply for reinstatement? Okay. Yeah. So he can apply for reinstatement in 2026. This is one of those guys you got to get back, man. I mean, what's your thoughts on this whole thing?
Yeah, well, I think I got to give a golf clap to professional sports gambling, which is something that we don't talk about on this channel because neither you or me are for it. We're not necessarily against sports betting, but one thing you'll never see on this channel is a betting sponsor, because one, they don't reach out to us, but two,
even if they did,
we would say no.
We're going to say no,
because it's just profiting off of people's misery, and it's just not what we're here for. But yeah, I 100% agree, man. This is a guy who was betting, shared an account. Whether he was placing the bets, they could prove based off of technology that he wasn't the one placing the bets on there, but that's not hard for him to make a phone call and say, hey, you make this bet on your phone, because so-and-so's umpiring, and he calls a wide strike zone. And, this could really easily be manipulated.
Yeah.
And the fact that they didn't find any evidence is probably more about the fact that MLB doesn't want this stain on them while they're accepting hundreds of millions of dollars from these betting houses in the first place. They know this is a problem. It's a big problem in the NBA. We're having players that are bench players getting kicked out, banned from basketball for the rest of their career, and also a player who's made over $100 million getting caught up in this stuff in the NBA.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
we just want to take a break to tell you this is brought to you by Sportsbook. No, I'm just totally kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Yeah. So this is a problem. And honestly, but the thing about it that's worse about it is the fact that this is one of the best. We've had several videos on this channel where we're talking about Angel Hernandez and how bad he is for baseball, because he's just let his ego come into play and just will make bad calls just to make bad calls. This is a guy, Pat Hohenberg, that is one of the best. And yeah, I think he's going to appeal. He's going to reinstate in 2016, and he's probably going to have to earn his way back up. But I honestly think, man, if this was not legalized betting, if this wasn't a legal betting app that he had, we would have never known this was happening.
Correct.
So the fact that we have this, and the fact that we were able to find out, means that at least some of this is actually working. So I have to give my golf clap to them on that. I agree with you. I think it's more important that we have good umpires in the league, at least until the robo-umps are in Major League Baseball. But until then, yeah, this sucks. Make sure that he's like not able to bet. Do something where he's not having any betting apps on his phone, whatever. And just get this guy back in the league, because we need more good umps in this sport for sure.
Exactly. It's imperative. The fact is umpiring is a very difficult job to do. Most of them are not that good at it. So if we got guys that are doing their best, as long as they're upholding the integrity and making sure they're doing things the way they're supposed to be, get this guy back in the league. Let's keep going.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We got a comment from Greg Hawkins here saying road umps are inevitable. Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So
the fact is the only way that we know this guy called a perfect game and his 129 is because of robo umpiring, right?
Yeah, because
the fact is they can digitally obviously transpose a strike zone, know exactly where the ball came through the strike zone, and know if it was a strike or a ball, even to the tiniest of degree. It's coming. It's expected. We need to know yes or no immediately. And umpires are going to hold, with the fact is with instant replays, umpires' roles are getting less and less.
Which I don't think they'd argue about. I'd sit back by there and make 6 figures a year to call a ball and strike, and if I'm wrong, it gets overturned.
Exactly.
I'm okay with that. Yeah. I'm not going to get fired for it.
The fact that you're doing it just for the visual effects of keeping baseball intact, Sterock.
If the ball's thrown at his head and the automatic strike zone calls it a strike, then you're there to overturn that, right? That's basically what you're there for.
I win either way. I'm getting paid. I'm always right.
Not being held accountable. It's great. We want to hear from you folks. Let us know what you think in the comments down below when it comes to this betting issue. Is it a bigger issue? Do you want us to do a deeper dive on that? Let us know what you think in the comments down below for sure. We'd love to hear from you on that.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and pivot and talk a little bit about Trevor Bauer, shall we?
Oh, always.
Okay.
Just so you guys know, Trevor Bauer is one of our favorites to talk about on this channel because everybody watches it.
Everybody's got an opinion on this for sure.
And you guys comment right now. I need to hear from McKinley and Greg. I want to know both of you guys what you think about Trevor Bauer.
Absolutely. Friend of the channels, let us know right now. Legends of the channel, let us know right now what you think on Trevor Bauer. Before we get into this, we want it locked in. So let's go ahead and start talking about the news. So Trevor Bauer signed a 1-year, $6 million deal with incentives to go back to the Bay Stars.
The DNA Bay Stars, which is really cool because we are the DNA Sports Recap.
Yeah, it's just meant to be. It's just meant to be. So we got a couple of comments here. We've got Car Wash Channel. Hi.
Hello.
How's it going, Car Wash
Welcome,
Channel?
Car Wash Channel.
Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the chat, man.
Welcome to our channel.
Exactly. Thumbs up for Trevor Bauer. Get that man a contract.
Boom.
Awesome, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for jumping in on that. Cause yeah, we want to hear from you on that. So we are Trevor Bauer supporters on this channel. We do believe that he does have the option. He should have the option to play Major League Baseball again. But he did sign a 1-year agreement to go back to the MPB. In 2023, he had a record of 10-4 with a 2.75 ERA and 19 starts. However, he did not pitch in the playoffs that season
because they didn't make the playoffs, right?
No, they made the playoffs, didn't they?
I don't know if the Baystar I don't know if they made the playoffs that season. I think that was a problem. But I mean, he follows up that 2023 performance with going to Mexico, going 10-0.
Yeah, but Robinson Cano is on his team. That guy's like 55 years old and barely sees the ball.
Yeah.
When we talk about the Mexican League, you're talking about maybe 3 or 4 runs down from Major League Baseball.
Correct.
I'd say Major League Baseball, MPB, KBO, AAA baseball, then maybe the Mexican League. But no offense to anybody who plays in the Mexican League. And I would love to go to one of those games. The players are in it, the fans are in it. It's fantastic. But we also have a comment here from Baystar's manager and Daisuke Miura says, I expect him to be starting rotation throughout the season. He's a big piece of our team. Now, that's the signing. That's not the story.
Correct. That is just a signing. That is just a very base level, because after this signing happens.
Are you talking about the glazed tweet from Dan Clark?
I don't know if it was Dan Clark.
Yeah, it was Dan Clark on Twitter that had a glazed tweet basically towards Trevor Bauer.
I don't know if I saw this one, so talk about that one real quick.
Okay, so basically, Dan Clark made a comment on Twitter on X that was talking about how it's don't listen to the vocal minority, that Trevor Bauer is against against allegations, false allegations brought against him that was never brought to court, charges were never pressed, that he deserves to be in the league. That's fine. You're going to basically just take a knee for this guy, and open the jaw wide for this guy. I get it. Whatever. It's fine. It's great, but that's not either the story on this. The story on this is when Trevor Bauer jumped in and responded to this.
Yes, that's correct.
Do you have these comments?
I do. So Joe for Dead Cat, Joe 2.0 comments on X, Twitter, and says, he actually comments directly to Trevor Bauer. Is this the ones you're talking about?
So this is a little bit further down. So that was a reply to Dan Clark's email. Trevor Bauer then responds to him, I'm the second most popular player and the most knowledgeable pitcher.
Hold on. Before that, there's one more thing, right? Because he comments and says, do you think you could still get major league hitters out?
This is a comment after that.
Okay.
So he does this first. So he's like, I'm the second most popular player and the most knowledgeable pitcher on the planet. I'm also a top 10 pitcher on the planet and willing to play for $0. The minimum, that's a minimum $50 million value per year that you'd get for nothing. By the way, he's gone on several different things to say that he would sign for nothing, and it's an incentive-based contract based off how many innings he pitched and how well he performs. He would be paid for that, so it's not actually zero. But somehow, but someone very obviously lied about me one time, and I can't go back to work. The absurdity of this situation is off the charts. End quote. So
hold on. There's a portion that you missed of that. The first part of that says, second, behind Shohei, I don't think anyone in America understands how big of a global superstar I am. I beat everyone else, though, including outdrawing every single MLB team in daily views just on my YouTube channel alone. That includes their streaming and TV numbers, by the way.
Yes, that was the second response that he said after the
Okay.
first one. So, do you know how Twitter works?
Clearly not. I'm obviously really struggling.
We have a Twitter account, AJ.
AJ doesn't follow our Twitter.
Apparently not.
I don't even have a Twitter. I don't got a Facebook. I'm old school.
It's great. It's great. We have a Facebook too. And so
Darren manages the Facebook.
Nobody's managing the Facebook.
Nobody manages the Facebook.
By the way,
or the Instagram. Apparently. Actually, I manage the Instagram. If there's anybody that's managing, it's me on Instagram.
Yeah,
if you comment, it's most likely me responding.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Shout out to Greg Hawkins. Thank you for messaging us.
Yeah.
But anyway, so so those are the comments that he made when it comes to that. I think the most knowledgeable pitcher in the league is smart enough not to bang crazy. When you're getting paid the highest amount for an AAV for a pitcher in Major League Baseball, you don't give you don't give me that it's a free country crap, right? Like in the comments, I'm going to hear that, oh, it's a free country, you can do what he wants. No, you are held to a certain standard when you're getting paid the highest amount of AAV of any pitcher in baseball history.
Correct.
Your actions have consequences, and you need to be better than that. So I don't want to hear about that part. But anyway, it goes into a little bit more than that. He responded to, he made another comment there. Somebody else made a comment. You want to read that?
Yeah. So do you think you could still get major league hitters out? Trevor Bauer comments and responds, there are like 20 hitters on the planet that are true competition for me. I'd steamroll the rest.
Which is funny.
20 hitters is pretty impaired. I love this because I'm a obviously Braves fan, right? So I watched a little bit of Chipper Jones in my day.
Mm-hmm.
Chipper Jones chimes in to these comments and says, the comedic aspect of this app is what I'm here for. To which Trevor Bauer responds, happy to prove it anytime.
That's
The Chipper Jones. Chipper Jones.
Yeah. So he's going to try what? Strike out Chipper Jones?
I mean, apparently.
Okay. So let's talk about the 20 players, shall we? Somebody in the comments there, another YouTuber named No More Fielders on Twitter, who has a YouTube account, by the way, you should check it out, posted a list of 39 hitters that have at least 10 at-bats against Trevor Bauer, all have 1,000 OPS against them. 19 of those players are still active in the league. So
only 19
are currently active in the league.
See, so that's why I said 20. And there's one wild card. 19 and then one wild card that he gets to pick that he thinks is still competition.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just, see, this is it, man. To me, this is it. This is, someone needs to tell this guy that this is exactly why he's not getting another shot.
Exactly.
I've said it before and I will continue to say it. The allegations have absolutely nothing to do with what's keeping out of MLB. It's this stuff, man. He's never admitted any wrongdoing or apologizing. And I don't want to hear in the comments that he didn't do anything wrong. There were no charges levied against him. Look at the policy. Trevor Bauer broke it. Okay. There's no arguing that. In his own text in court shows that much, that he did break Major League Baseball policy. You don't think this circus was, a distraction for any team that he's a part of?
Right.
They were relying on you to take the mound every fifth day. You don't think this is distracting to them? You're not going to apologize to them? You're not going to apologize to the team that paid you over $60 million for a dozen starts?
All you got to do is say you're sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry I put you guys in this situation. I'm sorry I put my teammates in this situation.
That's my bad. Yeah, that's my bad.
I should never put you in that.
I made a poor decision.
Yeah. I think
I didn't do anything legally wrong. I understand I broke Major League policy. I'm sorry. I want a shot again.
Yeah. I think he belongs in Major League Baseball, but if this is the way he's going to act, I don't see him ever getting an opportunity to come back.
Unfortunately, though, Trevor Bauer is 34 years old, man. And he keeps signing these one-year deals. He's still making his money. He's still got his YouTube channel that he's making money on.
He's now making $34 million a year on his YouTube channel.
But the problem is he's running out of time.
Yeah.
His fastball's what? Mid to high 90s right now? Mid to high 90s, right? 95, 96 on your fastball.
That he can't control.
The problem is his velocity is coming down.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, he has great control and at high altitudes in Mexico. He did a great job. He had some great movement on every single one, 24 inches of vertical run. Like, he threw some wicked hard pitches to hit. But you're running out of time, Trevor. Say sorry. Get back in the league. Everybody wants to watch you. Everybody supports you. I love it. I think Trevor Bauer is one of the most entertaining pitchers on YouTube to watch. He's great. His analysis of balls and strikes are so fun to watch. But you've got to get back in the league, man. Do what it takes and get back in the league.
Yeah, 100% agree. I think you're spot on there. It's just he's got to go over this, man. I don't know who's talking to him. I don't know who's in his ear, but someone's got to tell him that this is what it is.
Yeah.
It's this kind of disrespect for the game. If you get kicked out of Major League Baseball for violating a policy, and you've done nothing but for the last 5 years other than bagging on the team, bagging on not on your team, but bagging on baseball, disrespecting your team by throwing the ball over the fence because you're pounding because you got pulled out of the game, not respecting a playoff start by messing around with a drone and getting your hand cut before a playoff start.
Yeah.
This is stuff that you don't do when you're a Major League Baseball pitcher. And this is not the stuff. And, doing what you're doing off the field is not what you're doing when you're getting paid $34 million from an elite franchise in baseball. You just don't do it.
Right.
So somebody needs to get in his ear and tell him that this is the kind of stuff that he needs to stop doing. He needs to own up to his mistakes, whether they were crimes brought up against him or not. And, because I really want to see him back in Major League Baseball.
Totally agree.
He's got 3 or 4 more good years in him. I want to see it. We also have another comment here from Yamamoto. Won the Japan Cup last year.
Yokohama
won the Japan Cup last year. And they are an exceptionally good team in a very competitive league. Yes. So I think Japan is probably the second best league in baseball.
In the world.
Right. For sure. Major League Baseball, obviously number 1. Then I think you have Japan. I know. And there's some other, the Cuban league and stuff like that. The Dominican league that we probably should talk about too. But I think that, when it comes to Japan, they have a very talented league. A lot of the players that play for Japan don't even end up coming to the U.S. because, they want to stay there because,
the league's competitive. They pay you just fine.
Japan, Major League Baseball is the second biggest market in Japan for Major League Baseball. And we are second to their own league.
Right.
So that's crazy when you think about it.
Yeah.
Trevor Bauer. Trevor breaks a lot of
unspoken baseball rules too. Players that draw attention to themselves aren't popular. That might be changing these days.
Yeah, it's about drawing attention to yourself, but on the field, it's fine.
Well, yeah, and he goes on to say on the next comment that the internal politicking in the league is just so important as just as important as being a good athlete. And that is probably the truer words have never been spoken.
Yeah, they want you to represent the league the right way.
Yeah. The fact is they're okay with you. They're okay with you being yourself. They're okay with you going out there and making a name for yourself and promoting yourself within the league. But don't speak down on the league, right? Like this is Major League. This is the best league of baseball in the world.
It's a privilege to play.
It and that's 100% what it is, dude. It is a privilege to play Major League Baseball. And if you're going to take it and say something bad about the league, they're going to make sure you don't get a chance to play again.
Absolutely. I mean, if I mouthed off at my employer and the industry I work in, and I lost my job somehow, and
anybody, right?
I try to apply back for them. There's no way they'll hire me back.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'd love to see Trevor Bauer back in Major League Baseball. We hope things turn around for him. We hope he gets an offer. But until then, we're going to watch him just shove in the MPB for sure.
Absolutely.
We got your back, Trevor. We look
Go, Trevor.
We'd love to see it. All right, so let's go ahead and pivot on over to our next segment. Now, before we get into our next segment, I want to get into and talk a little bit about the Cubs, man. The Chicago Cubs are having an off season this year.
They are.
Yeah, and this is definitely for Greg Hawkins' benefit, man. Before we talk about our next subject, I was looking into what they've been doing.
Look at this, Greg. We're following the Cubs just for you, buddy.
They got Kyle Tucker from the Astros. Yeah. They got Vida Blue, so Vidal Brujan from Miami, former top prospect in baseball.
Yep.
They also get former, arguably better closer from the Houston Astros in Ryan Presley. And they also acquired World Series champ Ryan Brazier from the Dodgers. So he's a guy who had a sub-2 ERA in his time with the Dodgers. This was a great get for them. They are low-key having an awesome offseason right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some would say they're the front runners to land Bregman too. So I am really impressed with what the Cubs are doing this offseason. It's pretty impressive, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Making moves. And that's the thing is like, you've got to start somewhere. I mean, the Cubs had things like moments of brightness. They had this great pitching staff at some points that were like, okay, we're doing okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then it fell apart and
took a shot on Bellinger. Didn't work out after the first year.
Then you lose him.
Yeah. So we got another comment here from Greg Hawkins. Ryan Brazier, let's effing go. For sure, man. I mean, he is a great pitcher.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that you have to be excited about as a Cubs fan.
Yeah, I mean, when your team's as talented, you can let go of a sub-2 ERA reliever.
Yeah,
because you got to be room for Tanner Scott and Trevor May, and potentially Kike Hernandez.
Kike.
But I don't know. So wanted to start by that saying Greg that the Cubs are doing a great job in the offseason. But now we're gonna kind of we're going to kind of dunk on your team a little bit here, so we apologize. So the next segment here we're going to talk about is the richest owners in baseball are crying poor. So let's go ahead and start with the Cubs here. So chairman for the Cubs, Tom Ricketts, was speaking to Jesse Rogers of ESPN and said the scale of losses across the league is biblical. He continues to say, here's something I hope baseball fans understand. Most baseball owners don't take money out of their own team. They raise all the revenue they can from tickets and from media rights and take their expenses, and they give the rest of the money that's left to their GM. Rickett continues, the league itself does not make a lot of cash. I think the perception is that we hoard cash and take the money out, and we're all sitting on a pile we've collected over the years. Well, it isn't, because no one anticipated a pandemic. Oh, that's not good when you're using that as an excuse. And no one expects to have a draw down on their reserves from the past. Every team has to figure out a way to plug the hole, end quote. So with that said there, so we spoke last week about how Forbes announced that the league has, for the 17th consecutive year, posted record revenues. That includes the 2020 season, by the way, from the pandemic. And this time it is $10.7 billion. What do you think about this Cubs front office chairman's Tom Ricketts statement, AJ?
That's a real bad look, my friend. That is a real bad look. The worst thing you could possibly do when the league that you specifically own a team in is making $10 billion. There's 30 teams in the league, Darren. 30 teams in the Major League Baseball. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That means that you made plenty of money last year. And the Cubs specifically, we got a pretty sweet little sheet here in front of us. You can put it on the screen in a minute if you want. 2023 revenue for the Cubs was $506 million. I'm
going to say that for a shock and all later, but yeah, looking at it, $506 million in revenue. That is third in baseball. Third, AJ. Third most profitable team in baseball in 2023. And you're saying you're just trying to break even.
We're just trying to break even. We made $506 million and we're just trying to break even.
Okay. Go ahead and break down what their next year payroll is. So
the next year payroll is number 10 in the league at $236 million, which equates to 46.6% payroll to revenue ratio. In
fact, let's just go ahead and throw it up. I'm going to throw it up here on this one real quick. You can see on the screen there, the second one down in the right-hand column, to AJ's point there, is, if you can see there, $506 million in revenue, which is third in the league in 2023. Their payroll was 10th in the league in 2024 with $236 million, and which means 46.6% of their profits from the revenue in 2023 went to payroll, which is 17th in the league in percentage on how much of their stuff is making it. So, yeah, not the best look.
Greg's comment.
Let's hit that out. What does it say?
It says, we are broke in spite of record revenues, but it isn't like we can just use the money we have to support our team, Tom Ricketts said, sitting on a giant stack of money.
Exactly.
It isn't like we have cash. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
And this is a Cubs. If you guys are watching, this is a Cubs fan. Greg Hawkins is a Cubs fan.
Yeah, so that's crazy, man. You hate to hear that kind of stuff coming from one of the top 5 franchises in all of Major League Baseball.
These guys are sitting on money and they just refuse to spend it to make their team better.
That's and not including the $130 million they're making from their national and local TV revenue that they get before the season starts.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that here in just a minute.
But like you said, how much did you say their contract's worth? Their TV contract, 130?
They're making about $130 million a year. Yeah.
They've got 236 in payroll.
Yeah. So what? This that 500 million. If you take away their TV money,
you've got 100. That's 400 million in profit.
Yeah, I don't think it takes 400 million to run a baseball team.
I'm going to say it most likely does not. If so, you probably need to make a few cuts.
Speaking of which, we're going to get into that here in the next segment when we talk about the Mets, because we're going to jump into that here in a second. But next to them, we actually have another team owner complaining about being poor, and this is Hal Steinbrenner of the Yankees.
Dude, this is so legendary.
Do you have this quote? Do you want to read it?
I don't have his quote, so you can read it. But
okay. So when Hal Steinberg was told told yes, the Yankees Yankees Entertainment Sports Network, when he was asked about the Dodgers, he said it's difficult for most owners to be able to do the kind of things that they are doing. We'll see if it pays off. They still have to have a season of relatively injury-free for it to work out for them. So let's go ahead and talk about that one, shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay. So if there's a team that can afford to do what the Dodgers are doing, it's the New York Yankees.
This is the baseball's most valuable franchise, my friend. This franchise is worth roughly 7.6 billion with a B. Billion. And they own their own television network, the Yes Network, that Hal Steinbrenner or that Steinbrenner was on, right?
That's their network. Yeah.
They own the network. They're one of the only teams that own their own network.
Yes. So let's go ahead and throw this back up on the screen here.
They sell more franchise than anyone. They have an unmatched track record, right? This is the New York Yankees. These guys have 27 World Series championships. They play in the largest market, and they routinely rank in the top 3 to 4 in MLB in attendance.
Yeah, and payroll, which is interesting. But they're crying about being poor. Let's go ahead and throw this back up here, and let's talk about this. If you're watching on YouTube, it's on the screen, and be sure to check it out. If you're listening on the podcast, check us out on YouTube so you can see this. This comes from so if we throw this up on the screen, this is the percentage of the 2023 revenue compared to the 2044 payroll. This comes to us via JC Dowell on Twitter. First of all, shout out to the Mets, by the way. If you look at this, the Mets are giving up almost 90% of their revenue generated from the previous year back to payroll.
Yeah.
Which basically that means that's a lot of money, man. I mean, if there's ever a team in baseball that could argue they're losing money, it's the Mets. I'm pretty sure it costs more than $34 million to run a professional baseball team.
You would think so.
Just to keep the lights on, that's probably that and its staff and everything.
But it shows you, I mean, they're literally putting it back into payroll. They're trying to create the best team possible, put the best product on the field in hopes that it's going to generate more revenue.
Yeah, this is pre-Juan Soto signing. So that's Correct. What's crazy about this. Yeah. It's going to get even worse. But but look at the Yankees, man. Like, this is what I want you to look at. Look at the Yankees.
So right-hand side, just under the Cubs, number 18, New York Yankees, $765 million, which is number 1 in 2023 revenue. Number 1.
Yeah, which is over $130 million over the next team, which is the Dodgers at $679 million. They are only spending 47% of their revenue for the next season's payroll. Can you do the quick math on that? What's the margin there?
That is about $363 million.
Nice fast math there. Good job. So you're telling me you can't afford to do what the Dodgers are doing? I don't know, man. What do you think, AJ?
I think with $363 million, you should be able to figure out whatever the Dodgers are doing and do it way better.
Yeah,
because the Dodgers only have 240 or 19 million.
Right. And this is a team that's dropping $100 million into their stadium every 3 years without asking taxpayer dollars. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I think George Steinbrenner is brave right now, and this is just a terrible, terrible, terrible lie. It's obviously that the CBA is coming up for Major League Baseball because all these teams are crying poor when the evidence is staring you dead in the face. When you have an asset, you invest in that asset to make it more valuable, right? That's what you do with assets, right? You buy a house, you flip the bathrooms, you flip the kitchen, and then you sell the house for a profit. That's basically how it works. With your Major League Baseball, what they do, they have such a lucrative luxury tax that a lot of teams are paying into that you can just buy a team and sit on it and then just make in $50-60 million a year in revenue and just try your best not to field a decent team and keep your fans from screaming at you to sell the team. That's all you have to do. Just basically be the Colorado Rockies. That's all you got to do.
Basically. I love this. Hold on. We got to go up here. Yo, look at the A's. $84 million in payroll. Holy cow.
Yeah, that's true.
So the A's bottom side
all the way down.
Second from the top. Yeah, 29th. The Oakland Athletics had $241 million in revenue and $84 million in payroll, which only accounts for 35%.
Yeah, which is crazy. If you go one more down, AJ, that's the Tampa Bay Rays with 33.2% of their payroll. They were in the World Series 3 years before that.
Pretty impressive.
It's like you just remove the other one. There you go. Yeah, you don't have to spend money to have a good team, but simply just not trying. It's one thing not to spend money. It's another thing to have money on the books and be proven that you're making money and then lie about it. I think this is just more what they're trying to do for the next CBA to keep the profits on the owner's side. I don't know. I think it's ridiculous.
Yep.
But anyway, we'd love to hear from you folks on that. Let us know what you think in the comments down below when it comes to Major League Baseball owners complaining and whining about being poor and not being able to keep up with the Dodgers, especially when it comes to the Yankees, who are the only team that makes more money than they do.
Y'all got more money.
Y'all got more money. You made more money. Yeah, let's stop this narrative.
Let's keep it real.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Let's keep it real.
Yeah. One more thing before we get out of here.
Okay.
So did you hear about the Dodgers trolling the Padres?
No.
Oh, this is a great story, dude. We got it.
This is something you would hear about and I wouldn't.
Yeah, well, this is something we got to talk about the Dodgers every week because that's what gets views on this channel. So
that's correct.
We definitely got to talk about it. So
sorry, Greg.
When it comes back to the Dodgers, they lost to the Padres in the first round of the playoffs several years ago, right?
Yep.
And then the person who's in control of the scoreboard put on the crying Kershaw meme on the Jumbotron, which made it look like Clayton Kershaw was crying, stuff like that. Well, after the Dodgers, which to me, that's kind of a Bush League move, in my opinion. You beat the team, you go on and you prove to win. You don't kind of do that kind of stuff, right?
Because if I recall correctly, the Padres didn't win the World Series, right?
No, they lost the next round.
Just making sure.
Yeah. Well, the Padres did roll through the Braves last season in the postseason.
Screw the Padres.
And we're within one win of knocking out the Dodgers for the second time in 3 years. But with all the taunting that Jerks and Profar did, and Fernando Tatis Jr. did to fans, and Manny Machado throwing a ball back in the Dodgers dugout, it seems like the team took it too personal and got a little too cocky. And the Dodgers were able to come back and win that series, shutting them out in 17 straight innings and going on to win the World Series with Johnny Holstaff pitching one of those games. So here's what's funny. The Dodgers are going to start trolling back this year.
I love this.
So they're going to be welcoming in the Padres S Series in June. So the first game, June 16th, they're doing a giveaway. It's a bobblehead night. It's a Blake Snell bobblehead night.
Oh, no way.
So
while the Padres are in town?
While the Padres are in town.
Oh, I love it.
So with who was the pitcher that won a Cy Young for that team a couple of years ago? Well, that's right. That was Blake Snell.
That was Blake Snell.
You guys decided not to pay him, and now he's on the Dodgers. So first night that you're in town, Blake Snell bobblehead night. The next game, the Dodgers will be giving away a World Series replica trophy for the next game giveaway. That's the one they won in 2024 after beating the Padres in the first round of the playoffs.
Weird.
Yeah. Funny how that lines up. Third game. So this is 3 games in a row. The Dodgers are doing a promo and giving away stuff on games that they probably don't need to give away anything on because people are going to go to these games.
Correct.
But game 3, they're giving away gold player jerseys, which is World Series championship replica jerseys to the first 40,000 people that come to the stands. So for all 3 games that the Padres are in LA in June, the Dodgers are going to be giving away giveaways that are basically just kind of rubbing it into the Padres.
We just had the comment of the century. None of this will matter when the Dodgers lose to the Cubs in Japan twice.
Boom! That's a bold take there, Greg. That's a bold take.
That's a bold take. I love the friendly fan banter between the two of you.
I like it. Hey, man, I'm rooting for the Cubs, man. I'd love for them to, if they win a couple games,
go Braves.
If they win a couple games in Japan, I'm good for it, man. I just think it's a little ridiculous that the Dodgers have been expected to play start 2 games in the regular season.
Yeah, Tammy Price, friend of the channel, said, "LOL, good try, Greg." Greg responded now. Greg responded immediately saying, "I'm calling in now, 9472. We need to take a screenshot of this."
Yep. Put it in there.
Put it
on the board. We got it. Yeah, so the Padres aren't the only team that are doing things that I consider to be lowbrow. The Giants, when the Dodgers came into town, gave a Mickey Mouse ears giveaway on the time the Dodgers came in there, insinuating that the 2020 World Series was a Mickey Mouse World Series. But yeah, the Dodgers are definitely flexing their might here, and I am all for it. I think it's great. But yeah, I love it, guys. Love the comments on that. We'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. What do you think about the Dodgers trolling the Padres and doing it a little bit more classier than, doing a crying Kershaw meme and then immediately cursing your team for not winning in the playoffs since then. But yeah, we'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Love to hear from your Padres fans, Dodgers fans.
Absolutely. Go Braves.
With all that said, my name is Darren. Actually, no, we don't need to jump that. We need a full outro, right?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, whatever. We're 2 hours into this. Once again, folks, if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to the channel. We did hit 1,000 subscribers. So once we hit $500 in AdSense revenue, we'll be giving that back to our subscribers. 5 subscribers are each going to earn $100 each. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on that giveaway, and smash that like button for your boy AJ right over there.
Boom, smash it. And if you're watching on YouTube on one of our short videos, just know this is available as a podcast wherever you get your audio.
With all that said, my name is Darren. That is AJ. And this has been an episode of the DNA Sports Recap.
Till next time.
Still champs.
Go Braves.